Grad TV viewers, this is your girl Susie, sitting here with Scotty, Ben, and Ian, the members of Sonic Spank. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing great.
Great. So we're gonna interview them. Let's get right to it. Where you guys from? Born and raised.
You want to go first, Ian?
Sure thing. Yeah, well, right down the street pretty much. I grew up in Elkins Park, which is like right outside of Philadelphia, and that's me.
I grew up in Glenside, which is also in Cheltenham School District. And I'm from Long Island, New York.
So 2 PA boys, 1 New Yorker.
Yeah, we've known each other for a really long time. We just met this guy like
Oh, okay, new to the crew.
New to the crew.
Cool. Tell all the Star Draft viewers, what does music mean to you?
What does it mean? Music is most of my passion. It's how we try to make a living. Yeah, music is pretty much everything.
Yeah, I mean, definitely music is, I look at it like, almost like a religion, it's for me personally, like, I start my day with it, keeps me going all day, and I always look to it when I'm, in need or whatever, but it's also, a form of communication. It's a way you can, whether you're just putting music on a CD that hopefully someone listens to, you're communicating to them, or if you're on stage with an audience, you're communicating with them too. And even if it's instrumental music, it's a universal language. Everyone gets it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's definitely the hardest question that anyone could ever ask me, because it definitely is everything for me.
So nothing just pinpointed, it's everything.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's what I listen to throughout the day, and it's what I live my life as a musician, and it's just been that way for as long as I can remember. So
talking about as long as you can remember, how long have you all individually been doing this?
Well, performing since I was about 16 years old, as far as like clubs go. Maybe before that with like playing in like a pit band, a musical theater. But roughly about 10, 11 years, like playing professionally.
Cool.
And maybe about 17 or so years on the instrument.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, me and Ian used to do piano recitals together when we were like 6 years old.
Oh.
So we've been doing this for a long time. We played in a rock band together for like 10 years before Sonic Spank, and we've been doing this for probably 2 years now.
Okay. So what all inspired you to pick up your instrument?
Well, my father was a musician, and when I was about 7 years old or so, he bought me a drum set for my birthday, and I kind of just fell into it like right before joining school when you have to pick your instrument, and I tried not to play drums since I already had an instrument, but I kind of fell into it anyway, so I've just always been doing it. It's pretty much since 7 or 8 years old.
So thank you to your dad, huh?
Yeah, thank Dad.
Ben?
Yeah, I would thank my parents as well. They kind of made me take piano lessons when I was really young. My dad plays clarinet, so he let me play clarinet when I was in like middle school probably, joined like the band. And then when I was 12, I'd been itching and really asking my dad to play guitar forever, and he was kind of, him and my mom were like, well, stick with the piano, stick with the clarinet, see what you can do. And finally when I was 12, I convinced them to buy me a guitar, and I've been playing guitar ever since.
Yeah, for me, my parents got me started, like Ben was saying, we've done recitals, piano recitals since we were like 6. They got me started with piano when I was 6, and it was definitely a chore. I didn't really like it too much in the beginning, so I never really saw it as something that was going to turn into anything else. But for me, once I started going to concerts and seeing the flip side, like I wasn't seeing that aspect of the nervous, like, am I gonna screw up a note? Like, oh my god, my parents are out there, my piano teacher's out there, my friends are out there. But like once I started like watching musicians perform, play concerts, and seeing from the audience perspective of what it means to people and how excited they get, you know, and how much it means to them. I mean, that's when I got really serious. So I've been playing piano since I was 6, but probably until I was like 15 or 16, I realized it was like definitely
your passion.
It is. I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
I suck at everything else. But I can play music.
It's probably the same reason for me as well.
Yeah, we just You know.
Okay. So as a group in the past, have any of you worked with any artists, any signed artists?
Well, I mean, I did some performances with Conspirator, which is members of the Disco Biscuits, and some other guys from different people. They kind of have a rotating cast of drummers for every show, so I've been fortunate to play with them a couple of times. And I mean, we've all sat in or had members sit in with us from different bands, as far as Future Rock and Lotus and other like electronic jam bands within our scene. So
yeah, I mean, I've done some stuff, like Sky was saying, with musicians in this scene, and also with kind of musicians in Philly that do other scenes like jazz and fusion. I work with this drummer, Calvin Weston, who's a Philly legend on drums. We did like some Mahavishnu Orchestra cover band stuff and some jazz gigs. Not down.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, I mean, with the kind of music we play, like electronic, dance-oriented music, it's not so much about like the songwriting. With, you know, if you're like a singer-songwriter or a pop musician, it's more about just like playing and making people dance. So like with our scene of music, with electronic, live, electronica, whatever you want to call it, kind of thing. There's so many different musicians and bands where if you just put them on stage together, they'll be able to make people dance, even if they're just like doing hand signals, saying what key they're in. They're not really even playing songs. So like all three of us have had the opportunity to either sit in with some, you know, fantastic acts or do like side project stuff. Like Scotty was saying, we've done some stuff with like members of the Disco Biscuits. I've done some stuff with Billy Martin of Medeski Martin Wood, and I mean, like, the list is so long. People at this point.
Oh,
Lotus, Biodiesel, Brothers Past, Papa Dosi. I don't know. It's a long list, but just like
good then. That's good.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, just people that, you know. Once you get on stage with other musicians, no matter like how big their band is, once you just like relate on a musician level, it's like all those walls of like you know I'm really famous or whatever. Like all those walls just fall apart, and you know you just look at each other as a musician. So
yeah, being that we're in the studio, right? Are you guys currently working on any projects?
Yeah, we're working on our first full-length album. It's kind of a concept album. It's going to be called Drama, and
Drama.
It's yeah,
like it.
It's about our. We've developed a lot as a band over the past 2 years, and we kind of started out writing a lot of instrumental music that was really grimy and had kind of dirty song names, and you know we were trying to kind of push the limit a little bit. And as we've developed and kind of, you know, matured as a band, we started writing these songs that have lyrics, and this album has a lot to do with, you know, our experience with relationships and, you know, women and just kind of dealing with the ebbs and flows of that.
most of the negative side.
There's also
drama.
there's some there's positives too.
There's ups and downs with anything.
But yeah, we recorded it here in the studio, Kawari Sound in Winco, PA. About a month ago, something like that.
Yeah, beginning of December.
Yeah, beginning of December.
And we've just been mixing it down. So we collaborated with some musicians. Mark Brownstein of the Disco Biscuits, he played bass with us on a track. Jason Fraticelli, who's a Philly musician, who's played with Modest Yahoo, and has this band called The Wet Dreams. He plays bass on a track. So we do a little bit of collaborating on it. And Ian sings on it, and it's kind of our first experience really working with, you know, vocals and that side of rock music, you know.
Okay. So, well, you started to touch on it already. You said that you kind of gave an example of what type of what type of drama, right? It's gonna come out of it. Is there any deeper stories of that? Anything in particular you would like us to hear for it?
You mean like play a track, or what do you mean?
Well, you're saying that the album's called Drama,
sure.
right? So what are more deeper stories
Sure.
that you guys written about? And
yeah, well, I mean, it's the first couple of things we put out, not this album, but like previous stuff, like he was saying, it's like grimier stuff, like his songs called like Lick It From Behind and Crygasm, and like stuff like that, which is like really dirty. And it was sort of like this kind of playful, fun thing that we were going for because we just started the band. But then like with this album, the idea of going into a full-length album, I don't know, the songwriting sort of changed, and the more we started writing about what was going on currently, and for me personally, I went from being like single and like when the band started and had a different outlook on life, and then fell into a relationship, and I couldn't help but write songs about what I was going through, and it was like sort of like that level past just having sex where like feelings start to arise. So even though we set out to do this whole like Sonic Spank, we're all about like but but like it almost feels like once that happens, you invest emotion and stuff, and that's where it can get dangerous. It's sometimes a good way, but unfortunately, in, I don't know, my situation, not so much of a good way. So I mean, like, there's the album sort of starts with the ending of a relationship. So it's sort of, you start at the end of one chapter, and then it's like becoming single just for a brief amount of time and like enjoying that, but then falling for another girl who turns out to be like, just nothing you could have ever expected.
Sonic Spank, it's a unique name. Tell me the story behind it.
The story behind it. Well, Ian and I were in a band for a long time called MJ Project. It was a rock band that we played with together like throughout middle school and high school, even college. And the name wasn't that clever. It just had to do with his last name and the old drummer's last name. And we tried to change it many times, could never come up with a good solution. So when we started this, I mean, we were definitely looking for something edgy, something that was going to stick, something that was good and people would kind of notice by itself. We started messing around with this random band name generator on the internet, and it came up with a couple different combinations that we liked, and somehow Sonic and Spank were involved, and we kind of put those together and really liked how it sounded.
Cool.
Yeah, it's not completely vulgar, but it's on its way. Somewhere around there.
No, I like it. Okay, so you all mentioned that music, your first encounter with music was when you were all children, right? Either if it was forced or you guys chose it, but it ended up being your passion. So currently, the issue we're facing with the Philadelphia School District and a lot of schools across the country, they're trying to cut music out of the curriculum. How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, I could kind of go on for a while about the school system in general, but in music specifically, I think it's very important, not only just for music, but in arts or anything in general, to really dive deep at a young age into whatever you're most creative at and kind of use that as the way you're going to live your life. And it's good to have other options as well, but as far as cutting music goes, I mean, that's kind of how I fell into just like loving my instrument, was things that were forced upon me. And as much as I hated them at the time, or not, like later on I really realized how much I loved it and how much it was important to really growing as a musician. So personally, I think it's not a good idea, but
A second.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important for that to be a part of every child's growing up. I mean, it's something where, sometimes people, like schools, they push the sports, and it's just so like win, lose. You're winning, you're losing, stuff like that. But music's one of those things, if you teach that to kids, it's self-expression. And I mean, if you're going to take that away from them, it seems so silly to me because it's how I get out so many of my emotions, whether they're really happy, really pissed off. It's like I have music to like get that out, and if I never learned that, I'm not really sure what I would do. depending on how I felt. So I mean, once like a child realizes that it's a way to express themselves, I think that it's so invaluable. You have to share that to kids.
Yeah, I mean, we all teach, younger kids, older kids, whatever, and I have a lot of students who, if the only way they get music out is just through the, 1 hour lesson with me each week, the progress is, it doesn't go as far. I mean, the kids who get to, meet other kids in school and get to, like, perform in jazz band or stage band or whatever the school offers, those are the kids that really take it a little bit further and start getting introduced to new music and, like, meeting other people and start forming their own bands, and those kids,
They're so much cooler.
Yeah.
I like them. Okay, so outside of music, do you guys have any passions? I'm sure you do, but what are they?
I really enjoy sports, particularly Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. But no, I mean, like, I like sports a lot. I watch a lot of sports and put a lot of my emotion into it. Unfortunately, it lets me down all the time.
No gambling.
No gambling. Just pure entertainment.
For me, reality TV. That's about it.
Me too. We'll talk about it.
I'm kind of just a outdoorsy kind of guy. I like to go on
Rock
hikes. Not necessarily rock
You
climbing.
don't leave the house. What are you talking about?
Now that I live in Philly, I don't leave the house. But when I used to live in New York, I would do a lot of hiking and going to beaches and state parks and stuff like that.
Taking the trash from the porch.
Taking the trash to the porch. Now that's as much as I do outdoor stuff, is taking trash to the porch.
Let's do it. So, okay, in wrapping this up, is there anything else you want to tell us?
We are about to go on our first kind of headlining tour.
It's not kind of.
We are definitely.
It
going
is
on
a
our
headlining
first
tour.
headlining tour.
We're playing last.
We'll be in Philly on February 29th at the Blockley. We're headlining with Elliot Lip and DVS, and it should be really good. We're working on a lot of new music. We're sounding a lot better.
Great. Can't wait. All right. Any shout outs? Show your love. Who you want to shout out?
Hey, Mom.
So
Same time.
Yeah.
Dad. Grandparents.
Hey, Amanda.
Happy Valentine's Day to everybody.
We want to thank Kawari Sound Studios for having us in there.
In their space.
Yeah.
They're a lovely space,
And
which
if
you
you
should
guys-
check out
yeah, if
on
you need-
Facebook.
If
Or,
you need to be recorded, KawariSound.org. Check it out.
And SonicSpank.com.
well, we can't record you, but you should check it out.
Cool, cool. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me and letting me interview you. Star Draft TV greatly appreciates it.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it as well.
Great, great. So this is your girl Susie closing out. Have a great night.